Hey, it's Travis. Too many camp directors run just on gut feel. Our free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic is your dashboard for resilience. Take it today at camp.mba/Travis. Again, that's camp.mba/Travis.
Are camps so packed with activities that it's actually detrimental?
This is CampHacker. Come find our show notes and our blog for camp directors and leaders at camphacker.tv.
Why spend hours on your schedules only to find mistakes and missed activities for your campers? Let Camptivities do the heavy lifting and help you create the best schedules yet, without the mistakes and in less time. Come check out Camptivities, specifically designed for camps by camp people. Find out more at camptivities.com. Camp leaders, win back your time to what matters most, your campers. Bolin's comprehensive accounting back office solutions and tech-enabled team free up your staff to focus on your mission. Visit bolinhq.com to learn more and book a free 2-hour financial diagnostic.
Hello, Camp Mavericks, and welcome to the CampHacker podcast brought to you by UltraCamp, Camptivities, and campbot.org. I'm Travis Allison. I'm a summer camp consultant specializing in getting parents to tell their friends about how awesome you are because of how great you are at communicating with them.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Hudson. I am also a summer camp consultant, staff trainer, and all-around fantastic human being.
Welcome to this season, Chris. Great to be back on CampHacker with you.
I love to be back on CampHacker with you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. This is awesome. So we've picked a couple topics based on different things. I want to say thank you to Max Clayman for this idea. We're going to have Max on in 2 episodes to talk about another really fascinating idea that he's been thinking about a lot. And maybe we'll have him back again because he's given us so many good ideas, which is a good call to action. If you have ideas that you want to hear people talk about, whether you want to come on the show and talk about it with us, or it's just a topic, or you have somebody who you heard say smart things and you think that someone should push them on it or ask them questions or get it out to the camp world, Travis at gocamp.pro. So today, Chris, we are going to talk about overprogramming at camps.
Can't wait.
And I think it's an interesting time to talk about it because I definitely think camps are overprogrammed. I thought we were going to swing the other way when the free play movement came through camp, and lots of camps have really been involved in free play and set up good spaces for that and really worked that into the philosophy. But then I wonder if COVID and getting camp restarted when there was a lot of COVID going on, people had to put a lot of structure back into camps that weren't there before. And maybe free play just didn't come back. What do you think? What do you think?
I'm really prepared to talk about this today.
Great.
Because
Yeah.
I was looking around and I thought a lot about this because I visit a lot of camps as part of my job.
Yeah.
And I will say there are definitely camps where I go and I feel, is this some sort of military operation? Because from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m., these kids are running. But honestly, Travis, I don't know if I have a problem with that in every context.
Yeah.
On one level, yes, post-COVID, I think parents especially, they are looking for structure. Parents, I think, are always looking for structure because having more activities is just more to market. It's harder to market, hey, we're going to give your kid room to run around and just chill and relax.
Be creative and all those things.
Yeah,
that parents can't picture.
But also when parents are paying $2,000 a week or whatever you're charging. As a parent, I'd be like, oh, so let me get this straight. I'm paying you money and my kid just lounges around and talks to their friends.
Sit in the dirt.
Yeah, we can do that here at home. As a matter of fact, that's all that they do. So the concept of overprogramming, I think, is interesting. I think there are definitely pros and cons to a heavy activity schedule versus a light one.
Yeah.
But as I was thinking about this, I actually don't think, and we can go through this together.
Yeah.
I don't think there's as many cons for shifting more to the free play model of the spectrum. Having a lot of free time built in, I think, is great for, first of all, kids who have neurological differences. It allows them time to catch up. It allows them time to decompress. It allows them time to accept the situation and lean into it, as well as kids who, kids of color, queer kids like who just would need the time to settle and find their space. And
Yeah.
I think that would be super helpful to have more time.
Right.
So I made a list and
Mhm.
I had definitely had more cons on the programming side
Yeah.
than on the free play side, which
Right.
also, before we continue this conversation, the caveat that like camps aren't all one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of them,
Nothing's a monolith. Yeah.
a lot of them are
Worth
on the
reiterating.
spectrum because I have been to a couple of camps where I was like, this is a military camp.
Yeah.
And then I've been to a couple of camps where I'm like, so do the kids do anything? Because
Yeah.
I've been here for 3 hours and
Right. Before you do your list, can I give a bit of context of things that I was thinking about going into this?
sure.
I just want to do this because I know that you have some really put together thoughts, and I have a
Mhm.
couple or three things that are just disconnected, but leading to my philosophy on this. Number one, I grew up at a camp that didn't have a lot of fancy things. So we did a lot of play,
Mhm.
and I treasure those memories. I worked at a camp when I was in high school that was also 6 days long, but just got so much, just it was packed, packed, packed. I remember I didn't realize that I was a slow eater until I worked at this camp and 20 minutes into the meal. And I want to be a camp counselor like the camp counselor that I grew up with, where I'm engaging my kids at a meal and we're laughing and all this stuff. And the camp director's tapping me on the shoulder and saying, "You got to get out of here. Like, meal's done, get out." And so that was a camp that so I always struggle with that. It gave me a lot of stress. A,
Mhm.
to be forced to eat really quickly, but B, not to have mealtime. Like, I
Yeah.
freaking love mealtime at camp. It's my
Mhm.
favorite. There's no other time in a day that I have laughed until I've cried as much as,
In the
for
dining
some
hall.
reason, lunches, but
Yeah.
a lot of meals. So I always found that really stressful. But I also know as a camp director, being told and repeating often that bored kids bully. And I know that that's not the research anymore,
Mhm.
but that was certainly something that I said. So I know that's not consistent, but I heard it a lot and I said it a lot. So I wonder if that's stuck. Yeah, tell me.
Do
Face.
you believe I know I'm making a
I don't
face.
believe it anymore. No.
When I was, like, trying to compose my thoughts
Yeah.
and I was on the internet looking at stuff,
Yeah.
that came up a couple of times, like,
Yeah.
having more structure will reduce behavior issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
True.
And having more structure doesn't mean having every minute of the day accounted for by an adult-led activity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the idea that should kids be left to their own devices for a second, they will
Mhm.
treat each other poorly speaks more to your curriculum and your culture than to how many activities that you have planned.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm going to just put that right out there. I think this idea that, oh, well, kids will turn to the dark side if they're not doing something every minute of the day is just, it's such a vote of no confidence for your staff
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just for the philosophy of your camp. It's just, sorry, everybody. If that's your belief, think about it. Think about what that's really saying. What's the foundation of that? You just don't trust the kids to be kind, or you can't instruct the kids to be kind, or that's not part of your culture. Because kids should be able to interact with each other for half an
Yeah.
hour, 90 minutes a day without dunking someone's head in the toilet.
Right.
That should be possible.
Yeah, I wonder about a thing. I wonder about how camp has changed in the last 3 or 4 years since COVID, how there is basically a generation gap in our staff, and every camp director I talked to has said that staff didn't have the good examples growing up of how to be a good camp counselor and how to see all the things and how to engage your kids, etc. And they and so they have that kind of structure. Like that structure is essential for them to improve. But I could be off base on that. Like
One more time. The structures and
we have an unmolded camp staff that hasn't seen examples of great counselors in a
Mhm.
while. And so they get into camp and they have no confidence in their ability to look after kids. They have no mental memory of, oh, my kids are bored, I can do this. Then I've been called in to teach back pocket games to
Yeah,
staff
me too.
that I'm just like, why don't you know this? And I just have to acknowledge that's because they didn't have people showing it to them for several years.
I have a different take. I don't think it's
Yeah,
that.
good.
I don't think it's that. I think it's a generational thing. This is
Oh,
something
yeah.
that I experienced
Yeah.
with my staff about. I'm gonna spill some tea, but
Yeah.
like 2 to 3 years ago at Camp Highlight, there was like a staff mutiny,
Yes.
And there was one particular staff meeting where everyone got all up in their feelings and they pretty much attacked the directors, not physically, but they had a lot of demands. And it was really interesting to me because at the
Yeah.
base of it was the feeling that they were unprepared to do their jobs. And some of their examples of that was like situations where a child would present some sort of variable behavior that they felt they weren't empowered to take care of. But the thing
Okay.
is that part of what we were trying to train them is how to be flexible, which was
Yes.
something that they continued to reject. They were
Sure.
like, the staff handbook doesn't have everything we need. And by everything they need, they meant every conceivable thing that could happen.
Right.
Obviously,
Yeah.
we can't do that.
No.
However, I think so. Again, I don't think it's necessarily that they didn't have examples. I think this particular generation,
Okay.
there's something about, I don't know whether it's taking chances, whether
Yeah.
it's about trusting themselves. I don't know what the journey is about, but
Yeah.
I've seen this over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's so much about examples. That said, I think if that is a concern, if people are like, oh, well, that's why we need to structure to enhance or enrich our staff, I would just counter that your training can really like address like flexibility. It can address variables that come up.
Yeah.
Not every variable, but the concept of variation.
Yeah.
You can build modules around that as opposed to just lockstepping everyone into a schedule. Because honestly, I feel like I'm going on and on now, but when I hear that, oh, well, we got to schedule the camp because the staff needs that. I just feel like you don't trust your staff. That's what I'm hearing.
I get that. I get that.
And
I don't know, and I push me on this if not, I don't know that the staff is capable of those same kinds of things. They haven't had the examples. They haven't had, yes, in camp, you can never teach them everything.
yes.
But I had great examples going back where I would be sitting in a situation with a bunch of kids when I was 18 years old, and I was like, what do I do now? Oh, I remember the people that I looked up to at camp would have done this. They would have started a soccer game, or the ones that I really liked would have just said, let's go crazy and run into the woods and play some fun imaginary thing. And so that's what I did because I drew on that. And I saw, partly because like growing up at a camp that didn't have toys, like we didn't have
Mhm,
like canoes was the most expensive thing, like program activity,
mhm,
that I saw a lot of people who were flexible and could be, you know,
mm.
improv on the spot. What do you think?
It's interesting. I think I don't know if it's about the examples, like I keep saying.
Fair.
I
You've
think
spent more time at camps with staff than I have. There's no doubt.
I think things have changed. It's just even in the example you said, run into the woods and do
Yeah.
some imaginary game. We used to do this thing when I was a camp counselor back in the last century. Whatever the activity was, I'd call over my cabin and be like, boys, come here, come here. And then we'd dart into the woods as far as we could. And then we just run through the woods screaming for an
Yes.
hour. And then
Yes.
we'd sneak back and then we'd be like, okay, shh, no one knows what happened. Don't tell anyone what we were doing. We just ran through the woods screaming. That was the activity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I would wake the kids up in the middle of the night and we
Yes.
would go down to the lake at 1 a.m. and tell ghost stories on the other side of the lake. And
Yeah.
then we'd get back quietly so no one could hear us.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the 90s. Things have changed. If
Yeah.
I knew that my staff was doing that now, it would be a 5 alarm problem, right? Our attention to detail and our attention to risk is different than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I did that. I
Yeah.
would never suggest that my staff do that
That's fair.
now. So flexibility has changed. I think
Yeah.
the way
But
that we
yeah,
think about risk has
just
changed.
right.
And so,
Let me add one thing,
yeah,
just quickly, and if you don't mind, if you can hold your thought.
go.
We encouraged. No, the last time I was a camp director was 2007, so
Mhm.
it's a different world. I get that, but we used to have to push our staff really hard. We called it getting off the pegboard. We organized all of our activities on a big
Mhm.
pegboard where all the camps were and what campers could choose from. We called it getting off pegboard, and we had to push them really hard to do that. So stuff like a get up in the middle of the night, go do a thing, come back, don't tell a secret. We would
Mhm.
always encourage that, but the kids wouldn't know that it was planned,
Mhm.
and we all knew that it was coming. Like the whole senior
Mhm.
staff was there in support, watching from the
Mhm.
sides. Senior staff would sometimes get roped in on like a kitchen raid, and someone would be a character to interrupt their kitchen raid, and
Hmm.
it would just multiply the giggles times 100.
Yeah.
So I would think there's a way to do some of those things if we're thoughtful about them, but maybe I'm just innocent because I haven't had to do it in the last few years.
There's definitely a way to do control chaos.
Sure.
And especially, like we always say at our camp, everything's a show. Like
Mhm.
this is a Broadway production.
Yeah.
So yeah, pantomiming, oh, we had no idea this was going to happen. The kids love that kind of thing. It's definitely something that you can build in.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't want to get too far afield about the overprogramming thing. I think I just want to turn the dial back for a second.
Good.
I'm just trying to frame this in my mind. Is it about more activities versus less activities, or are we really talking about something else? Because I think the staff piece that we're talking about really factors into our conversation here.
Yeah.
Because part of it is, like you said, part of it is, well, we do all this scheduling of activities in some ways to support and alleviate the pressure on staff. Which
Yeah.
then I said
Yeah.
earlier, well, it sounds like you don't trust your staff, but maybe
Mhm.
that's a little too judgmental now that I'm thinking about it. Huh, you've given me pause. All right, let's start from the other end.
Cool.
What does free time give the kids? And by
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah.
I don't mean free time.
Mm.
I don't mean free time. We have what's called village time,
Yeah.
which is an hour twice a day
Yeah.
on either side of meals,
Mm.
where we go back to their cabins and they have to stay in the village, but they can do whatever they want,
Mm.
right? They can go mix with kids from other cabins. They can sit on their porch and play games. And the staff is instructed during training week. We do a whole back pocket game thing.
Yep.
But
Yep.
also we talk about structure, like any structure you want to do in your cabin, as far as like cabin meetings or special games, that's
Yep.
the time to do it. So we introduced to them, hey, you have about 10, 15 hours of programming that
Yeah.
you can come up with, or not, or the kids can play tetherball, right?
Yeah.
But it's not exactly free time. I do
Agreed.
know camps where the kids just like for
Yep.
2 hours, they just tramp off and
Yep.
everyone trusts them to come back, which I think is wild, but it's not my camp, so whatever.
Yeah.
I think what kids get from that is, like I said earlier, some kids need time to feel a space out and get acclimated. I think
Yeah.
that's great. The other thing that I was thinking about, this just came to me as I think about camp moving forward
Hmm.
and bringing in more diverse clientele,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
diverse campers.
Yep.
That heavily structured, like activity period 1, 2, 3, 4, and are all 10 minutes apart. That
Mm.
heavily structured schedule appeals to some cultures and would
Sure.
be really confusing to others. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it's just being thoughtful about how that lands. But all that to say, I think what free play really gives the kids is a time to decompress. So that's
Yep.
mental health good stuff.
Mhm.
And a time to acclimate, and also a time to make organic friendships.
Yeah.
And last thing, the thing that I'm always talking about, what are we doing if we're not teaching the kids, either directly or indirectly? This is how you interact with your peers. This is how you interact in community. This is how you live in community. In order to do that, you actually have to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Without an adult saying, okay, now everyone, let's play this game. I'm going to dictate all the rules and you're going to parrot them back and do what I say. There's definitely good stuff to be said about the free time.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, there's more good stuff than bad stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I'm bristling at overprogrammed. I'm curious what that
Sure.
means.
Sure.
I know I started off with that question. Is it so overprogrammed it's detrimental? But what if someone came up to you with that same question? Are camps so overprogrammed that it's detrimental? What are you thinking about when you hear overprogrammed? Because I wonder if that's different from what I'm thinking.
Well, I definitely mean a quite rigid structure.
Hmm.
And I mean that other than, let's say, a rest hour,
Mhm.
kids, there's some expectation that the kids are doing something.
Hmm.
And that something is known to the administration. So they could at any point find and know where those kids are and what they're doing. So that's my basics of it.
Hmm.
Some of the things around from when we were directing and my great passion for games
Hmm.
is that I would try to encourage staff that if they ever sitting around to be singing or playing a back pocket game, usually just singing is easiest to
Hmm.
do. I've said on the show, we just sang all the time. But
I
I
love
wonder
singing.
if that was wrong to push them. Like anytime you're standing in a line, singing a song, standing in line makes sense. You need line standing to be more fun than
Yeah,
just line standing.
transitions.
I don't know.
Transitions
So
have to be
that's
made more fun. Yeah, I
so
agree.
that's what I wonder about overprogramming is do they have to be singing a song or playing a back pocket game in 10 minutes outside of arts and crafts while the last group is cleaning up and getting out? Exclusive to CampHacker listeners. Generate fresh ideas for activities, staff training, marketing campaigns, and more with UltraCamp's plug-and-play AI prompt guide. Download it for free at ultracampmanagement.com/CampHacker. Why struggle with multiple systems when one can do it all? UltraCamp offers a platform that simplifies your work by combining all aspects of camp management into one seamless solution. UltraCamp brings everything you need into one easy-to-use platform. Plan schedules and activities with just a few clicks. Register and track campers easily organize, schedule, and automate your communications. Manage payments and donations seamlessly. Get back to what you love. UltraCamp helps you spend less time on admin tasks and more time creating unforgettable camp experiences. Ready to see if UltraCamp is the perfect fit? Schedule your free personalized demo at ultracampmanagement.com/CampHacker.
Also, what is, I love to define terms. It annoys all my friends. But
Yeah.
even the idea of what is programming, I
Sure.
think about what programming was 30 years ago versus
Yep.
what when I was receiving program from someone else. And now as a director, I'm creating program. I think about the way that we program.
Yeah.
Nowadays, when we build activities, we build in like a parallel lane of if the kids don't want to do this, if there are kids who don't want to do this because
Yeah.
it doesn't even mean because they're not in the mood is
Right.
fine. If what is an acceptable thing for them to do?
Mm.
They can sit on the grass, bring some other like coloring books or something for them to do. When I think about, because when I hear overprogrammed, what I'm thinking is like a military precision kind of thing.
Sure.
But you can have your camp be really programmed, but just be thoughtful about all the different kids in that program.
Yeah.
And what they may require. Because I think it's one thing to be like, okay, activity period 1, 9 a.m., 2, 10 a.m., 3, 11 a.m. That's fine as long as we build in to those activities with basketball, volleyball, waterfront, whatever it is. Hey, if kids are like tired, if they don't want to do it, if they're having a bad morning, here's a list of things that they can do. Maybe there's another counselor who can run a back pocket game. Here's just throw a bunch of paperbacks on the grass. They can dig through it. In this way, I think it alleviates the idea of overprogramming. It's still controlled. The kids are still on task. They're still on schedule, but it's not dictated that they must do this thing at this time. That would be my suggestion. If we're suggesting things, that would be my suggestion is to create an alternate path for the activity hour that you're planning or hour or hours. Create a different path and see that not as a failure of the program, but just actually a strength that it can contain so many diverse children and attenuate to their needs. Yeah, I think that's definitely it. Although, last thing, because why am I talking so much today,
That's
Travis?
okay. I've talked a lot.
I think I've said this before, and I don't want to call anybody out. There are some camps that have beautiful facilities.
Yeah.
Phenomenal facilities. I've been to camps that have I shit you not, full Olympic style gymnastics studios. Right. I remember the first time, this was years ago, I visited a camp like that. And then I saw several others and my jaw dropped. And on one hand, it's such a fantastic opportunity for the kids to do something that they've never done before. Also, on the other hand, the client and the customer are different people. Parents love that shit. Parents love it because their kids get to do something they've never done before. On top of that, because the parents are paying, they want to see what they're paying for, which is, it's interesting to think camps that are a little bit more laid back, how would they market that? And is that something, I'm curious what you think about this. Post-pandemic, are customers more interested in giving their kids the opportunity to relate to one another outside of structure, or are they more concerned about reintroducing them to structure after the largely chaotic and structureless pandemic period? And again, before you answer, we understand nothing's a monolith.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, which way do you think that seesaw tilts?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Here's relative experiences or relative things that I've seen.
Hmm.
People that grew up with us at camp,
Hmm.
including some of our best camp all stars, like the best camp counselors ever, are not sending their kids to camp.
Okay.
And for both Beth and I, that just freaks us out.
Mm.
And we've talked to some of them because we're like, why wouldn't you? And so that tells me that society has such a big change. We've put so much worry on parents
Mhm.
that even the people who should be our best ambassadors for the summer camp experience are leery of sending their kids. So that's interesting. I don't know what that means
What's the
exactly, but it's
leeriness?
something we've seen.
When you talk to people, what are they saying?
Well, some of the stuff I just
'Cause that's really fascinating to me.
yeah. Some of it is, I mean, everybody gets to be their own version of what a parent is, no matter what their life experience is. It
Mhm.
changes you when you have
Sure.
kids. Some of it's just really basic worries, like any other parent sending their kid to camp. I've heard this a few times and it bugs me where some of those stuff will say, "Well, I know what we did when we were camp counselors." I was like,
Mhm.
you had some time off where you giggled and whatever,
Mhm.
maybe went for a grabbed a lifeguard and went for a swim after dark when your kids are in bed.
Yeah, that's
But
what the
you were
staff is
amazing
doing.
counselors from
Yeah.
the moment you woke up until the moment you went to bed.
Yeah.
You definitely had downtime. And some of those things we wouldn't do or wouldn't allow, but some of those I would allow under structured circumstances that were just do it implied. So I don't know. Like I find that an amazing answer to me because all of those people were amazing. They worked incredibly hard. They didn't have anywhere near the breaks that camp counselors do now.
Mhm.
And the answer is, well, I know what we did in our time off. It's like you didn't have time off because this was,
I didn't
the
have time off.
2000s.
Yeah.
Um,
Time off.
and and you were awesome. Sure, you had fun. I had fun when I was a camp counselor on my nights out of cabin when someone else was looking after my kids. We talked too late. We missed curfew, but
Mhm.
didn't mean I wasn't a good counselor. And I wanted that. That's the other side of it. I wanted my staff to have those opportunities
Mhm.
because they're living in very structured times. Very right now, I would want my staff to. I would prioritize social time for them
For your
and
staff.
downtime. Yeah,
For your staff.
yeah. But
What
anyway,
about for the
so
kids?
yeah, right.
But take it down one more level.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah.
apply to the kids?
Well, that comes back to my kind of off pegboard idea. Yes, please. I know your kids are only at camp for 6 days in my program, and
Mhm.
there's lots of them, which I've definitely noticed. If you have kids for 4 weeks at
Mhm.
camp, the pace of what happens in a day is radically different
Mhm.
because part of our problem was we need to make sure that kids get to all the activities that we promised their parents
Sure,
at
of
least
course.
once. So that's Chris and my experience both is we got to
Mhm.
get them, going to move them so that they get through
Yeah,
these things.
absolutely.
But we really wanted them to, yeah, take half a day and walk all the trails on camp or make a fort. So I don't know, like that's not structure for me,
Mhm.
not my typical version of structure. Like I have been at camps, I have observed camps, and that one camp with the hurry up and eat was also often. I remember saying to my campers, "Now is not the time to go to the bathroom." That's bad.
Yeah.
That's
That's not
bad.
advisable.
Yeah. That's incredibly ableist on top
Mhm.
of not teaching kids to advocate for their own needs. Some of it would be, let's get to the activity, get the activity started, hand you off to whoever's running this program, and then you can go.
Mhm.
But I do remember saying it to my kids.
Yeah. No, I have absolutely said those things. We will go to the bathroom when we get there,
Mm,
or you can sit down later if you're tired. I have
yeah,
definitely said those things. I think the way that we interpret children's requests is different than it was
agreed.
even
Totally.
10 years ago.
Yep.
The things that children feel empowered to request,
Mm,
those things go hand in hand, has changed
yep.
since from 10 years ago. Wow, I can't believe we've gotten this far before I asked this question.
Yeah.
I wonder, because we talked about staff, we talked about parents. What do you think the kids would
What do the kids want?
What do they want? Maybe we
Right.
should have started there.
This is a classic camp director stuff.
Yes.
I never even asked the kids. I
Like,
read a lot of research and I talked to other camp directors, but I never asked them.
we've been talking about 20, 25 minutes, and I just dawned on me, oh, what would the kids like? Oh my gosh. Oh, we're bad. Hey, you know what? At the time of this recording, we have a family camp going on, and I'm going to text up to that director and ask them to ask our kids this question, because I'm really curious what they would say. I'm going to get real-time data this weekend because okay, I am not a child. I don't know if everyone listening knew that. However, I work closely with children, and I feel like they want more free time. I feel like they want more time on their own, especially the teenagers.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. They want
And
less
so,
structured
right, we
time.
should ask. And I also think it's important the distinction that changes by age. I also think that compared to a zillion years ago when you and I were counseling,
Mhm.
that every kid has much more needs. And kids come to us way more tired. And we always used to say teens would come to us exhausted, but every kid
Now
comes
it's
to us
everyone.
exhausted now. And one, free time for a younger kid who's never had free time that they've been programmed, which is
Mhm.
obviously a family can afford to keep their child programmed all
Mhm.
of the time. But those are a lot of the families that can afford to send their kids to camp.
Sure.
And so a lot of those kids have never had I'm a latchkey kid, right?
Me too.
I got
Gen X.
home before my
Yeah.
parents got home from work.
Mhm.
I would often, it's such a fun kid thing to say, but I would get off the bus, go home, and knew that my dad would be working the fields for
Mhm.
hours, and
Mhm.
it was up to us to do things. So I was fine in entertaining myself. All I ever needed was a book anyway.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it would be worth asking. I wonder if some of the kids who've been overprogrammed would be freaked out by not having. It's one of those things. I wonder for younger kids if we just have to give them little pieces until they get used to it and then grow up
Yeah.
because they haven't
Yeah, that
had
part.
to pull Lego out of a box and make something that wasn't following the exact instruction. And we can't just say, you need to do this. We have to show them how to do it. And camp's a
I
good place for it.
I'm gonna go back to something I said earlier, like a controlled chaos.
Yeah,
It's a voice and choice situation.
sure.
So
Yeah,
you can have free time. And we keep saying free time. I want
yeah,
everyone to understand. It's not just putting the kids in the field and being like, all right, the staff is going to go. You guys chill. We'll be back in an hour. Obviously, that's not what I mean.
yeah,
When I see free time, it's something that isn't staff led, requiring an instruction piece or a reflection piece at the end.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah.
Great. So that will be our definition. I think there is something to be said for, hey, everyone, here's some time. And maybe free time is a misnomer. Here's some unstructured time. And saying, like you said, because I think young kids would have a much harder time with this and require this kind of instruction. Here's some unstructured time. Here are the options of what you can do,
Yep.
and listing like 4 or 5 options. Here's the book nook. Here's the drag bag. Here's all these things that you and your friends can look into.
Yeah. No.
That was training young people on how to spend their time. I think teenagers can figure it out, but even
Yep.
then, I don't
Yep.
want to give that because everyone's different levels of maturity. I think it's less headache for staff if there were stations, if you were, during the unstructured time. And that still remains unstructured because if it doesn't require instruction or reflection, I think that that's fine. It gives the kids an opportunity to decompress. It gives them an opportunity to interact natively without the adult intermediary. And it gives them the experience of having time where nothing is scheduled. It gives them the experience of filling that time, which, by the way, is a life skill. That's an important life skill of what to do when you're quote unquote bored. I never like to think of kids at camp as bored, but when there's unstructured time. So yeah, I think definitely a choice situation around the unstructured time is probably marrying the two
Mhm.
ends of the
Mm.
spectrum that we're
Yeah.
discussing.
Yeah.
Because everyone wins. Wait, I didn't actually think about that. Does everyone win? Yeah, everyone being mostly the children. I think everyone wins in that situation. And also, I want to say this unequivocally. if you really do have the kids scheduled every hour of every day,
Mhm.
I hate shoulds, and I don't want to
Yeah.
say can't. However, if every minute of the day is scheduled for the kids outside of one rest hour, I
Right.
think you should just think about your philosophy of what actually you're trying to teach them. I think, especially post pandemic, no one wants to hear it, but everything has changed. And training the kids, teaching them how to use downtime,
Yeah.
the value of downtime.
Mm.
I just feel like that's the part of the business that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good final word. The thought that it brings up for me is I don't know if the kind of people that listen to CampHacker are the kind of people who are super rigid.
I,
So maybe we're talking to the converted.
I,
You know that's
I,
not true?
let's just say,
Yes, let's.
that's not entirely true, Travis.
Okay.
I
Okay, great.
without calling people out, I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
say I definitely have spoken to people who's, hey, I know you from that podcast. And then I talk to them. And let's just say this
Fair.
is an important conversation for everybody
Yeah.
because I think okay, that's all I'm going to say. I don't call anybody out. All I'm saying, I think there's something here
Okay.
for everyone to consider.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Every year, it's the same thing. Lots of hours spent working on the daily schedules, only for there to be mistakes, missed activities, and lots of stress. Why is it so difficult? There's got to be a better way. And there is. Camptivities, an activity scheduler made specifically for camps. Group scheduling or camper scheduling, we've got you covered. Different day schedules, no problem. Auto scheduling, elective scheduling, batch scheduling. Schedule the way that works for your camp. With over 60 reports, you'll be able to see the data easily. When a parent calls and says, my camper didn't get an activity week 1, pull up the group activity tracker and see exactly when that activity was scheduled all summer long. Modernize the way you do activity scheduling. Make it easier to collaborate with team members. Get rid of the mistakes and make sure your campers are getting to all of your activities. We'd love to show you the next big thing in camp. Don't wait until the new year. Now's the time to find a better way to schedule and save 15% for the first year. Let us help you get away from your desk and back out in camp. Visit camptivities.com to set up a time to chat.
That means it is time for our tool of the week.
Tool of the week.
Chris, I am going to hand it off. First tool of the week of the new season, Chris Hudson.
I'm furiously clicking through to find the window on where the week. I'm going to have to just do it live. I cannot find
You want me to take over while you click?
Yeah. Can you actually go first?
Totally.
Travis, you will give the first
tool of the week of the new season. Travis J. Allison. Okay, great. I actually saw this tool in action this summer when Beth and I were in Scotland. We were with a tour group and we're at this really interesting place. And one of the women in the group was like, hey, can we take a group picture? And we'd spent a lot of time with these people and we're like, yeah, that's fun. She pulled out of her pocket this little drone, turned it on in her pocket, in a pocket in women's pants, no less.
First of all, the fact that she had pants, go on. I meant not pants, that she had pockets.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Women in Scotland wear pants, everyone.
Yes.
I just meant pockets.
Yeah, pockets. And pulled out this drone and just turned it on and did some stuff with her hands. It said, okay, everybody get. And then she's okay, it's done. And the drone landed on her hand. So this is a company called Hover Air. The drone is called the X1. There's probably a new generation coming out this year. So you might be able to get X1s for cheaper throughout this camp year. And it doesn't have a controller. And it looks like a book, like it folds up like a book, where the rotors are. It looks like a TV remote with 2 wings of a book on it. And those where the rotors are fold up to make it like a kind of thick, but a book. And it's really not small. The cameras, modern cameras are super good. And everything's controlled by gesture. And for a while, there wasn't even an app. You can get an app now. But she just turned it on, set it on her palm. It went up and was like 3 feet in front of her. She did some stuff with her hands. It went out further. It took a picture. And then it came back and landed on her hand. And you can set it to follow. So you can, without an app, you can just put it on while the kids are running through the forest, you can just say, follow that counselor's head, and it will pull back so it's got a wide shot and follow them through the trees.
I fully don't believe you because that sounds like the future.
Yeah.
Also, I just Googled it while you were talking.
Yeah.
If it does what you say, there's no way that this is not a cheap device, by the way, but I
Right.
can't believe it's in American, it's only $350.
Yeah. I
I'm
was
looking
gonna
at
say
it
it's
right
over
now.
$500 Canadian. And there's a combo package because it has a second battery, which is what a camp would need, a
Mhm.
charger and a second battery. But so it'd be a bit more. But anyway, yeah, it's not cheap, but it's not what you would think for a drone with that much cool stuff built into it.
Just so you just move your hands like you're casting a spell and it does stuff.
Totally.
That's Yeah, I don't believe you. I'm gonna have to look at YouTube videos. That sounds wild.
Yeah.
That sounds a little wild. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm on a podcast.
So there you go.
I'm like
Hover
looking
around.
at I'm like looking at the
That's my
website now.
Chris, do you have a tool of the week?
I do have a tool week. It's not as cool. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna back up. It's actually pretty freaking cool.
Great.
It's a book. A lot of what I train on is a lot of staff stuff, right?
Yeah.
How to train
Yeah.
staff, how to give feedback to staff, how to schedule staff, how to deal with staff, blah, blah, blah. And I stumbled upon in creating training modules, I stumbled upon the book Radical Candor by Kim Scott, which it's not a new book by any means, and I think it's a really simple kind of proposition. Whereas you are balancing like two things. You're balancing like caring about your team members and challenging them directly. And those things make an axis. And the idea is that you want to care about them and challenge them, which equals radical candor. And I think it's a super simple idea. But when I train on this changes people's whole perception. But just the idea that letting things go with your staff because all they're good people doesn't actually support them at all. On top of that, like not caring about your staff while dictatorially telling them what to do is also not good for the trust. Radical candor is really about like restorative theory. Like, how do we maintain and restore relationships? Like, how do we maintain our work relationships and keep them healthy so that we may do whatever we want, so that all these things become possible? I keep saying it's a really simple idea, but also I don't want to be judgmental because you might pick it up and it might rock your whole world. But I would really recommend checking it out. Or if you're cheap, just Google radical candor. There's a lot of articles written about it and you can get the gist enough, but I would suggest reading the book. So that's my tool of the week.
That's a great one. And I did a little look back, and Matt, one time when we did an episode with a ton of tools, Matt had done the Tool of the Week podcast as one of those. And I know Ruby's talked on Camp Code about radical candor.
The podcast?
Chris on Camp Code.
Oh, no, there's a
And
radical candor podcast. Is that what I heard you say?
There is a radical candor
Oh.
podcast. Yes. That's
Oh,
correct.
so there is.
Mhm.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
So this takes me to, if you want to see this tool of the week or any other tool of the week, go to find our show notes at camphacker.tv/podcast. I have resurrected this is my bonus tool. I have resurrected my tool of the week newsletter that I'm putting out every Tuesday morning that will include stuff that I have recommended on the show, include stuff that people have brought as their tool of the week that I have used and have an opinion on.
Mhm.
And you can email me directly about that. It's probably the easiest way to get on that list for the tool of the week newsletter. Chris, if people want to follow up with all your smart stuff, how do they get in touch?
Oh, well, you can open a window and just scream my name. If that works, congratulations. Otherwise, you can email me, chris@planetchris.net. You can see what I'm up to on Instagram at planetchris1. Yeah, I think that's probably best. Oh, or the window thing. Try one of those.
Or the window thing. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good. If people have ideas for the show, things if they want to come on the show
Yes.
and talk about
Yes.
things, Travis at gocamp.pro. I will take this last second to say, I hope that you go to your podcast app right now and search for First Class Counselors. It is a show made by us. Matt and Oliver have been running that show. It is for camp counselors. Every other show we do is for camp directors. This is a show for camp counselors. It is for you to pass on your staff You could make it part of your retention plan. You can make it part of your pre-camp training. It is great. So please search for first class counselors. You can listen to them to see how they do things and pick and choose the shows that your staff most needs to hear. Chris, thanks for a great episode 1 of the season.
Oh, we're already knocking it out of the park. We're batting 1,000. Is that a thing? Batting 1,000? I don't know why I picked.
I believe that's right.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Neither one of us should be talking sports metaphors.
Yeah. Oh, it was great, Travis.
You're rolling a nat 20, Chris. That's what you're doing.
See, yes, I rolled a nat 20. That I understand.
Thanks for the evening, friends.
The Camp Hacker podcast is brought to you by Beth and Travis Allison, summer camp leadership training and marketing consultants. Thanks for listening.
Hey Camp Pros, we love that our industry is built on sharing. In order to foster that spirit, if you've gotten even one good idea from a Go Camp Pro podcast, a masterclass, from the Summer Camp Pros group on Facebook, at a conference, or wherever else, we ask that you give credit where credit is due. That way, we can encourage camp pros to keep freely sharing their brilliant ideas and make the camp industry better. Thanks very much.
Hey, it's Travis. Camp directors often tell me they're just too tired to take on anything new. That's exactly why my free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic exists. It doesn't add work, it shows you progress. Quick, free, repeatable, you'll know if your systems are paying off without the guesswork. Try it today at camp.mba/Travis. That's camp.mba/Travis.